This is the live recording of Heroes Untapped. It'll be episode 1. There will be no sound effects. That will be on the podcast. So if you're listening to the stream or watching on the stream, check out the podcast as well, because it'll be even better, hopefully. All right, and here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Heroes Untapped. This is episode 1, and this is the Heroes of the Storm podcast for the Australian and New Zealand community. I'm your host, Diskin Kerr, and joining me tonight on my co-host is Happy Rage, the XL5 team manager. How have you been in the Nexus, good sir? Has it been treating you well?
I have had not enough time to actually play too much lately because I'm either watching Skimmy and X5 and all them scrim, or I'm typing inside Skype and on web documents trying to get all this stuff sorted for all these tournaments. But yeah, it's all good. Everything's
a bit
all
shocking.
good.
Oh, that's good to hear. All right, so in tonight's show, we do have 2 fantastic guests joining us as well. Our first guest on the show tonight is the team captain of XL5, Skimmy. Introduce yourself, mate. How are you this week?
Not too bad there, bro. Yeah, I'm Skimmy from XL5. I play as Assassin. Have done since the start of, I think it was Rhaegar patch back in Alpha. So I've been around for quite a while now. And I play with KVO, who's my flatmate. And then it was just a case of finding 3 other people that we could round out to make a squad. And we've been a tight contingent since. It's pretty good.
Oh, it definitely shows in you guys' games. You're definitely one of the big contenders in the AZ scene at the moment. And also our second guest is another great member from a interesting situation at the moment, but from a great ANZ team as well. It's Shy from Team Immunity. Welcome to the show, Shy. How are you as well?
I'm a little bit tired because I've been working full time all week. But aside from that, I'm alright. Yeah, guys, I'm Shy. I've been with Team Immunity now since, I believe, about February this year, if not in March. Initially, I was in the competitive scene. I came in back in October last year. I think a new brack just hit. Had a team with Team Tribute, which disbanded about after 3 months. And then I joined the, now broken up Team Immunity, but we'll go into that later.
More details to come. All right, so just a quick introduction to Heroes Untapped. Obviously, this is episode 1. It's sort of like a pilot episode, full-time episode. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it'll be great. So basically, what we got lined up for tonight, it's been one hell of an exciting week in Heroes. Actually, it's when I thought that I'll start writing a podcast, and I was looked into the ANZ scene, I was a bit concerned that maybe we don't have enough stuff going on. But this last week has just exploded. It's been awesome. Or good things and bad things, I should say. It hasn't all been amazing to hear. But it's just been really good. So what have we got on tonight? We got a bucket ton of Heroes news, heaps ANZ related as well, particularly in the esports scene. We've got some really cool stuff coming up this weekend, in fact. We've also going to got a cool discussion. We're going to talk about improving your own gameplay, in particular in hero drafting towards Hero League, Team League, things like that. And we're also going to talk a little bit about what to expect on first day for new tournament entries, because we do obviously have a huge tournament coming up this weekend, but more details later. And then we're also going to interview both of our guests tonight, Skimmy and Shy, and just find out what it's like to be on the big teams in the ANZ scene for Heroes. What you need to do to be there, and what you sort of what your life is like. Do you guys have the job? Do you have a job? Is it Heroes all day, every day? Just questions like that. It's the life Heroes all day, every day.
In an ideal world.
Maybe if we're living in a different country.
That's it.
Not Australia. Well, listen, maybe we can grow it. Australia and New Zealand. Maybe we can grow it and become bigger. All right, so it's we'll just go straight on to our first section. Give me a chance to break and have you guys talk, the people that actually know stuff about Heroes. What I like to call the section is Nexus News. So this is where we're just going to talk about all this cool stuff happening in Heroes of the Storm and ANZ at the moment. So, guys, what happened last night? Happy Rage, can you tell me what happened last night or early this morning?
Well, I haven't had a chance to experience it yet, but Leoric came out. And
how's that? The new...
I haven't seen him, haven't played
Leoric?
him. The most I know about him is that Robodoba says he's OP. That's it.
So
That is.
I've only
King
played
Leroy's-
2 games. I couldn't tell you much either.
Joe?
You got any
Well,
feeling?
well, unfortunately, I've been at work all day, so I haven't had the pleasure of playing him either. But I have been told quite explicitly by my teammate Robodova that he is broken.
Yeah.
So that's all the feedback I have at the moment. That he's just stupidly OP.
Yep. That's what I
All
got.
right, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, I can't tell you why though.
Oh.
Is he overpowered? Like, is he butchered overpowered? Like, he's a new hero. People don't know how to respond to him, and so he's just overpowered because we don't know how to defeat him yet. Or is he overpowered because he is overpowered? He is the Skeleton King.
I think he's overpowered because he is just overpowered from what Rob said. Again, I'm just going off Rob's word, but the impression I was getting was just that there's not a lot you can do against him. And it's not sort of a knee-jerk reaction to an initial release. Butcher, to me, was never overpowered. Even on release, I didn't think he was like that great. But yeah, Rob seems to think Leoric is like stupid. So
Thank God he's banned this weekend. Then.
yes, thank God for us. No, that's bad, Rob. Oh, damn it. Okay.
News break just in. Skeleton King is banned during this weekend's qualifier round for Road to BlizzCon. A lot of people are probably crying now hearing that fact. It would have been cool to see him actually played, but you can understand reasons why. Actually, why is he banned? Actually, probably maybe not everyone realizes this.
He came out today. Like, nobody has time
So?
to practice against him. The teams that do have time to practice against him or with him will just dominate. Because it's like, we're practiced with knives and then someone brings a gun. That's the best way I can explain it.
It's a good analogy there.
Yeah. Horrible
Yeah,
analogy.
so it's just so he's just new into the scene, and he's just too new to really judge. Maybe he's overpowered, and he does need to be toned down. And we just don't have enough time to know that much about him yet.
Oh, it might not even be numbers. It's just the sheer fact that nobody's played against him. They don't know what to do. Like, for all we know, he's not that strong. People just don't know what they're doing. But like, you look at other games, League of Legends. Usually, when heroes come out, they're banned for 2 weeks after they come out. Is that right? I can't remember. But I seem to remember them being banned.
It used to be 2 weeks, and then I think they changed it to 4 weeks. But yeah, 2 weeks is usually the correct way to go, I think.
As for the August championship, I'm not sure if he's banned or not. I can't remember. I don't know whether it's been said or not. I don't think so, though.
All right. So more to come. It's something to discuss about in later podcast.
Next week.
About to say so. Yeah, that's it. Next week, ACL bans all eternal external conflict. What is it? Sorry, eternal conflict characters. That's so obviously we haven't really had a time. I'll just quickly go through for people listening and watching, just to give them an idea. So the Skeleton King, if you haven't heard yet, is a new hero release. He is a new warrior into Heroes of the Storm. All the videos look great on him. His primary abilities are Skeletal Swing, where he does do a large attack, deals heavy damage, and slows the enemy for 40% of their speed for 2.5 seconds. His second ability is Drain Hope. It's a skill shot, but it hits an enemy hero. It does slow down your movement speed, but if you can keep up with the target, keep within a certain radius of them, you do get it does damage and has the potential to heal you up to 20% of your maximum health. So you can see that in engagements just being really good, especially for a warrior class. Get right in there into that front line or that back line, throw down the Drain Hope, and he's basically surviving. Throw it on the enemy tank, or the enemy warrior, and they're probably not going to get away even if they notice that it's on. So definitely probably tell why people think he's a little bit overpowered. And then Wraith Walk, just separate from your body, moving unhindered and gaining movement speed for 2.5 seconds. Once the thing does finish up, you do appear in the spot that your Wraith is, and you can cancel at any time to appear as well. And his so we'll go into his heroic abilities. He does have the Entomb, which is an indestructible walls form up. It's very similar to Diablo 3 minions. Everyone's seen it, the Waller minion. That's effectively Entomb is that. And then March of the Black King is 3 major swings for massive amounts of damage as he steps forward into the enemy line. And heals himself with 15% of his health as well. So what do you think of those two heroics? Which one do you think is going to be taken more often the soft CC where they can try and escape, or the massive damage that heals as well?
Depends if bolts and stuff like that go over it.
I'm pretty sure they do, right?
They do?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly from the trailer, and I was just like, well, if that's the case, then people aren't going to take it. But the March one, I suppose, if you have a lot of CC, slows and whatnot to play it off, you can have a lot of potential there because it seems to do a fair amount.
Yeah.
Probably the swing.
Do we know if the March, if that's going to be controllable? Like, can you stun them in their March? Because it doesn't say anything about them being unstoppable during it.
Wouldn't know, but I think it's a direct.
I'm pretty sure it is unstoppable. I think it's like Diablo's lightning breath.
Yep. Once it's going, it's on.
That's it.
Yeah.
But then again, like I
Alright,
said,
so
I've only played 2
probably
games today, so it's hard to say.
it's
We
hard
need
to
Rob
talk
here.
about a hero. Next week, obviously,
That's it.
Robo sounds like he's going to love this hero. First pick, Skeleton King every time. And actually, let's just what about his heroic trait? What do you guys think about that? So his heroic trait is Undying. Become a ghost when you die and resurrect upon... What's that? Sorry, say it again. Become a ghost when you die and resurrect upon reaching full health. Your abilities do not damage while in the Undying form. What do you guys think about that as a trait? Like, it's a trait that obviously is only effective when you're dead. Is it any good? Is that just like a throwaway heroic trait?
Permanent scout. People won't be doing bosses because even if he's dead, you can see where he's doing.
That's it, I suppose. You've got so little vision in this game. No wards, for example, only scouting drones and the owl from Toronto. If you can just always walk around and see what's going on, you're going to be very scared making those sort of instinctive calls when you do a complete team wipe.
And also on top of that, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think his abilities instead do a 40% slow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's using that throughout a team fight once he's died, that's going to be pretty silly, I think. I mean, just obviously things in practice versus on paper is always different, but on paper, that sounds, incredibly dumb. The fact that, for such a long time whilst being dead, you're 40% slowing, and the AoE slows as well. It's not single target. So obviously that sounds pretty legit.
So we're going to be seeing Skeleton King doing a lot of peeling from the dead, peeling from the grave.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere on one of these Reddit threads that people are saying that you can shave off maybe 20-30 seconds from his res time of all the sort of HP talents you can take. So whether or not that's the most efficient build to go, it'll be interesting to see how the scene responds.
Well, that's really another cool, interesting thing is how his talents change him as well, enhances his abilities and things. So it's I don't think we should talk about too much in talents this week. Just definitely get an idea of how people are playing him, finding out what talent builds are pretty effective or pretty good. But so what are our opinions, our first impressions of the Skeleton King? Even though none of us have touched him at all yet because he's just too new.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
We can multitask, eh? I'll load up the try mode, and I'll be playing it whilst we talk, eh? Pretending I know exactly what I'm talking about.
That could be an amazing podcast later down in the future. Podcast live from inside Heroes of the Storm. All right, so that's pretty cool. So that's the new hero. All right, so we'll move on because there's just so much news happening this week. It's have any of you guys actually heard about the Zeratul exploit? Apparently on his Shadow Assault. I've only heard about it, haven't seen it as well. Is it real? Is this just someone on Reddit just manipulating a video footage, or did this actually happen? Because apparently it happened. It happened in the Intel Stream Masters. Is that correct?
I think it was in one of the Korean qualifiers for it. A Korean qualifier with Korean teams obviously exploiting the bug. I watched the gameplay and it was pretty nuts. But also I feel it's a little bit scummy that player exploited it. So for anyone that doesn't know, it's basically you've got Shadow Assault, and I haven't looked into exactly how you do it, but you can literally go across half the map really, really quickly into a team fight. Instantly, essentially. So if you're a mid lane, let's say Cursed Hollow, you're mid lane wave clearing and there's a team fight happening bottom, with this Shadow Assault bug, you can get straight to the fight within a matter of seconds, which is, obviously a bit stupid. And again, I think to abuse that in a competitive match is just a little bit scummy, even though other teams may not have, or even Blizzard may not have known it was a bug. I mean, to use that is a bit,
well,
not cool.
It's definitely an unintended consequence. You know, it's the ability doesn't say teleport halfway across the map, and in practice, it's obviously been designed to be a short range, multiple charge. But the way they've implemented it is just insane. I just wanted to bring that up more, not so because I know how it works. I've read up on how you do it and stuff. I'm not going to tell anyone how to do that because I'm not going to tell people on my podcast how to exploit Heroes of the Storm. I'm just going to bring it up. Be aware of it, guys. If you do accidentally stumble across it, don't do it. It doesn't matter that you can do it in the game. It's exploiting. It's not designed. It's not meant to do that. It's not meant to be used that way. If you exploit, you can get your account life banned, and you're gonna have to start all over again. If you forked $50, $100, $200 into this game, chances are you're gonna have to do it again and relevel all your heroes and do everything from start. So I just wanted to bring it up. It's just an interesting thing that's only come out over the last couple of days, and just don't do it, guys. It's bad.
Well, I actually didn't even know about it until you brought it up, but it should get fixed pretty soon. Usually when all this stuff becomes public, it gets fixed. I mean, think about the Asmodan Tacita bug a couple of patches ago. They got fixed like the day of. So
it's still pretty hard to pull off regardless.
From what I hear, you have to spend a little bit of time practicing with it. Have they fixed the that Butcher issue yet, where the Butcher can, if you click his charge ability on someone who's out of range and then they go into Fog of War, it still tracks them? Has that exploit been fixed yet? Does anyone know? I haven't seen in any of the patch notes as it being fixed, but
I remember seeing a video on Reddit about it, but I don't know what the verdict of
what
that
happened.
was.
I know a lot of the
Well,
apparently that tied into a lot of the map bans, the bans on the accounts who were doing the map hacks, because this sort of brought map hacking to light, because all these people were like, well, hang on, how did the Butcher charge me through the Fog of War? And then when they were watching replays, because a lot of people started watching the replays, was going like, whoa, that dude, not the Butcher, but someone else, looks like he's map hacking.
Yeah, I mean, it was an iffy time with the map hacking, but I'm glad it got resolved as quickly as it did.
That got fixed, yeah.
Thanks to Ninja.
Thanks to Ninja. Shout out to Ninja.
Was that because he requested it be fixed, or that's because he exploited the hell out of it?
No, because he did the video that went up on Reddit that got the 18,000 views.
Yeah, we played a quick match and we had a wee bit of fun with it and decided to bring it to Reddit and became the first person on Reddit. So he feels a wee bit of a celebrity, so to speak, now. He's going to be the next big YouTube star. You watch out for him.
No. That's good. I mean, that's probably a thing to highlight as well. Like, probably people should be promoting the game, like the gameplay more often, giving feedback, making videos and stuff. Because it obviously works. If you see this stuff happening and you report it, it's obviously getting addressed or getting looked at or publicly reported, I guess. Not. But no, that's cool. All right, so that's moving on from just current exploits. Don't do it. All right, so also we just saw the 5th and 12th of this month, guys, was the MSI MGA. This is such a long title. SEA qualifiers for their global tournament. And it was, a really cool opportunity to see so many ANZ teams rock up and participate in it. Unfortunately, none of our teams did get through, but Shy and Skimmy, XL5 and Team Uni did really well in the tournament. Can you guys just give us a rundown? What was the tournament like? What expectations did you have going into it?
Do you want to go first, Skimmy, or me?
You can go first, bro, if you've taken the lead. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, sure, then. All right, so basically the MSI MGA qualifiers were a qualifier to get flights and accommodation provided over to PAX Prime for another tournament where it would be an ANZ team, a C team with ANZ representing it if we won, some American teams, some European teams, a Chinese team, and I believe a Korean team. So basically what XL5 and ourselves had to do to get into the C top 8 final was playing an open qualifier, which I believe was 25 teams. We had to battle through other C teams on sometimes 300 ping, which was quite brutal. So we only had to get to the top 4 in the first qualifier. which ourselves and X5 managed to do. And then last Sunday, last Sunday? No, the Sunday prior, we played in the top 8 C final, where ourselves got to the grand final, and I believe X5 got to the semi-finals, and we both lost to the same team.
Damn them.
Yes.
Damn. Yeah.
We'll
So
get our
with,
revenge one day.
So going into it, what did you guys expect to happen?
I can take it away this time. Well, our expectations going into it were just, I suppose, to see how we sized up against other teams in another region. You're obviously not exposed to the SEA teams all the time, and quite rightly so, because the ping at times can really play havoc with you. So it was a case of you play one on theirs, they play one on yours, and you pray to the RNG gods that the coin flip went your way. Unfortunately, it never did for us, so we're always subject to these 300 ping games, and at times it's worse because myself and KVA in New Zealand, it's team hotspot. We're all playing on our mobile net because even our home broadband can't handle the ping issues. But expectations going into it was just see how we can size up against other teams. We made it to semi-finals. Bit disappointed that we didn't make it all the way. Could have met IM in the finals and turn the SCA qualifier into an ANZ qualifier, so to speak. But both lost to the same team. No close games, so I'm quite happy with how we sort of went into it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess adding on from that, our expectation going in was, I mean, I'll be honest, we thought we were going to win. We thought we were going to just smash it. But it turns out that obviously ping variance on their host versus our host was quite a big issue. I think one of our quarterfinal games were streamed. Our quarterfinal best of 3 was streamed, and it was quite obvious that whoever had host advantage was just stomping. And I think you know Skimmy can vouch for this, that was a trend throughout the entire tournament. Generally, whoever had host advantage was winning the games. So, you know, and also on top of that, when we got to, I think it was the semi-final where our games weren't streamed, we were having really close matches. I believe one was, we had a 30-minute game on Garden Terror on our host.
Yep.
And we were quite surprised with how the random Asian team the random C team was faring, because we thought we would just obliterate them on our host. So, they were a lot better than what we thought, because we'd previously scrimmed a couple C teams, and it was, you know, back and forth on hosts. It wasn't that hard, to be fair.
Yep.
But they performed a lot better during the tournament. So, yeah, it was a big surprise. I guess, Skimmy, do you want to talk about your semi-final match, and then I'll talk about our grand final match?
Yeah, go for it, Swedes. Leading into our semi-finals, we're up against My Revenge. They went host first, but they chose Dragonshire, which tends to be our most, our most favourite map. So we're quite confident sort of leading into that one. And we went for the draft, and we got every pick we wanted, so we're quite happy. And basically, it's an interesting element when you're playing on their ping, because you've got to sort of change your draft up another notch once more, because you've got to take into consideration certain heroes can really be spiked up, I suppose, when you're lagging. So things like, you know, your Kerrigan, Muradin, Tyrant, I should say. Things that can just lock you down and CC for a long, long time. It's really hard to juke that when you're sort of lagging as such. So we went for a pretty standard comp, just push. You get the XP advantage, you get level 10, you go for ultis, and you'll see from the VOD, we make the call, or Ninja made the call, we just goes for the Dragon End. And everyone's like, oh crap, like, is this the right decision? And Ninja went for it. He was quite happy, and we won the game. But then leading into game 2, we're like, okay, cool, now we're on our ping, so we should be sweet to go. But damn, Esmodon, man, Crab, absolute plays, and you know, you don't need to have high ping, or you don't need to worry about your ping when you're playing Esmodon. And sadly we bow out. We're a bit upset about that game 2. So then leading to game 3, it wasn't the way to be. So we lose 2-1, and they progress to meet IM.
Yeah.
And then I guess with our grand final match, again we had played this C team, MYR in particular, a number of times in scrims, and usually we were the ones coming out on top. You know, probably 70% of the time. And we thought we had them like covered, like we had them completely figured out. But they were bringing out stuff that we'd never seen them do in scrims, and they were playing a lot better than what they were in scrims, obviously because it's a tournament. So going to the games, I guess they caught us off guard a little bit. And we were lucky enough to get first host, actually, where obviously we won the first game due to host advantage, I think. And then the same thing followed suit. They won game 2. Now, game 3 is where it sort of all fell apart for us. It was Blackheart's Bay. It was like a 40-minute game or something. And we should have won that within 20 minutes max. But a little bit of miscommunication at boss caused us to lose boss. We were still up a level in the lead, so it wasn't as if we'd lost off the boss play. But there were a number of times essentially where we had miscommunication. People started disagreeing in game. People stopped talking because we were a bit demoralized after the boss play. And then that in turn sort of snowballed. Well, it's hard to say snowball because it was a 38-minute game, but I think it eventually led to us losing, even though they had a core exposed on 40% health, which was a bit sad. And then we sort of just crumbled in game 4 because we were then on their host. And at that point, I think it was 2 a.m. 2 a.m. for the Aussies, 4 a.m. for the New Zealanders, and we were sort of over it by then. So we bowed out 1-3. So.
And then with future Southeast Asia events, is there any advice you guys have for hero selects? I imagine Tacita would be highly prioritized on their host. I mean, any advice towards that?
I think when you're on a higher ping and you know you're going to be on higher ping, you need to try and, if you can, if it's in your hero repertoire, obviously, picking heroes that demand less of you mechanically is always going to be a lot better. So I know X5, for example, game 1 against MYR on the Dragonshire game, they had both Zagara and Tass, and in laning phase, mechanically they don't require a lot to win, and X5 pretty much came out of that game stomping through the laning phase due to the Tassadar Zagara, both again not requiring much in regards to mechanics. So they snowballed the laning phase and won even on their ping. So I guess, when you're versing a team that has a severe ping advantage, if you can try and pick things that are within your hero pool, but again, don't require heavy mechanics, you have a much better chance of winning. So playing 0-2 on 200 ping obviously is not ideal. So yeah, that would probably be my advice against the C teams.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
So
I was saying, just to probably reiterate what I said before, it's just as much as you want to pick certain heroes, you want to ban certain heroes like Kerrigan combos, Turan stuns, just things that can really lock you in place. If they do some really, really hard early game comp where they're just trying to block one person, instantly make it a 4v5, you're going to have a hard time trying to ice block or juke and whatnot. So it's a balance of both. It's another sort of drafting element you've got to add to it because you're not playing on your own ping.
Yeah, something you're unfamiliar with, and it's I mean, even with the ping, I still believe they were both really, all was really exciting games. Maybe even the theatrical component, because a lot of them went out to the full 3 games as well. So theoretically, they were fantastic, all fantastic to watch, or most of them were. I was really ashamed that we didn't see both of you in the grand finals. That would have been amazing. That would have been the best. But it didn't happen. There's always next year, and actually. I talk about next year. Skip next year for a moment. We've got the Road to BlizzCon monthly brawl in July happening this weekend. It's the second set of qualifiers, so we will be having potentially 4 seeds. Is it? Because
4 seeds.
It will be 4 seeds. Yeah. So this is the July happening this weekend. I don't know, Happy Rage, you want to take over and just talk about it a little bit more? Because you are the event organizer for it.
That's hard to say. I make a battle fire, write out some rules, answer some questions.
Yeah.
That's it. But
done stamp.
Yeah, that's it. Doesn't require that much effort. So, yeah, Road to BlizzCon, July, qualifier, number 2. Lyric band, that's one thing I need to bring up to everybody once the registration's closed. Just make sure.
Highlight multiple times.
Yes.
When does the registration close on that note?
Registration closes tomorrow night, midnight Sydney time. So, yeah, midnight AEST tomorrow night. So you got a day to set up. Yeah, 4 people qualify. If you do qualify, you make it to the top 8, ANZ Championship, which is pretty much guaranteed money. If you get top 4 this tournament, you get money. That's the bright side. Winner of the ANZ Championship goes to North American Championship, which is even more guaranteed money. If they come top 2 in that, they get to play at BlizzCon. Yay!
Oof. So that's going to be a huge
Yeah.
And that's what everyone's playing for, isn't it? The chance to go to BlizzCon, to be on the big stage, and say, "Yep, we are the best that the Heroes of the Storm has to offer." Or should I say the chance? Actually, is it? No, it's the chance to go to BlizzCon to play against Tempo Storm, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, hopefully. We've actually made quite a few jokes in terms of if anyone does make it to that point, that when they cut to the team discussion, like, they might jump into the team comms at BlizzCon to see what people are talking about. They've got to be talking about unicorns and rainbows and stuff, and just not even talk about Heroes of the Storm. Just completely freak them out.
I'm using amazing shampoo today. It's the apple variety. Actually, just quickly going back for a second. So we did mention that tomorrow night is when the cutoff date is, cutoff time for team registration. Because it's a podcast going up on Thursday. Do remember that Thursday, the 23rd, Thursday the 23rd of July is the cutoff day, is midnight AEST. So just in case you are watching this podcast and you're watching it on Thursday and you think you have Friday to sign up, no, you do not. If you're watching this tomorrow on Thursday, 23rd, you have to sign your team up.
Yeah, I should have.
The minute you hear this. That's all right. That's sort of cover it. So it's so that's the July qualifiers. This weekend, Skimmy, can I get your opinions on? So we've got a series of teams entering the tournament. Which teams do you think are going to do really well this weekend? Who are your top picks?
As just for the July one, I just DC'd before, so I missed it.
Yeah, July.
For July one. So I would go for Apex straight away. They've been around for a long, long time, so I think they're a top competitor. We've scrimmed them a few times, and they're definitely a respectable team to go up against. Who else do we have here? I'm just looking through some of these names. Not too sure who some of these people are. We got Untapped, who I'm not sure if there's anyone different in that roster, but they were the Buttercup team that we versed back in June, and they're a solid bunch of players. Who else do we have here? I'm not too sure if Heaven's Curse. I know he had a team back in the day, and he's a strong competitor back from when he used to play in leagues. So I think he was in the June one, but I'm not too sure if he's in July. I don't see his name here. And then I would say, obviously, the new immunity, Shy in his game with Robodoba. There'll be a strong contender to definitely get for the top 4.
Yep. All right, so you've just got a fourth.
Excited.
So you got a fourth pick that you're not 100% sure on yet.
I'll be honest with you. A lot of these players that I'm looking at for these different rosters, I'm not too sure who they are. ANZ's become a lot bigger nowadays, so I'm still very close with the people I know from back in Alpha and Beta.
Hey, big dog.
Hey, Kings of Alpha, mate. The players.
Hey, don't remind me.
That's the one, bro.
So we're going to be seeing a new team come up. Potentially, we could see the next XL5 or Team Immunity coming up. Well, I guess we will be seeing the new Team Immunity, won't we? Won't we, Shy?
Correct. Yes. In action this weekend.
Well, obviously, what are your top 4 picks? Obviously, you're backing yourself. I take it.
Yes. Well, I hope the second. How do I phrase this? Yeah, my team with Robodoba. I'll put it that way. My team with Robodoba. Hopefully, we will qualify this weekend top 4. I hope so, since I think a lot of people consider us to be in the upper echelon of the ANZ scene. Next is Apex. It's sort of a no-brainer. They kind of got an unlucky bracket in the June qualifier, I think. They versed the old Team Immunity in, I think, the second or third round. And then they played a very strong Silicon Esports in losers bracket. So I think they were quite unlucky to not get through in June. So Apex will definitely go through. And Inept, which was BBB, I think obviously they're going to get through as well. They're starting to get really strong and they're practicing more and more. And I think I'm going to just be the same as Skibby, to be honest. I think if Heavens signs up with his team, they'll be the fourth team. If they don't, honestly, I have no idea who the fourth team would be. Just because, as Skimmy said, I don't know who any of these players are, and I don't know any of these teams.
Yep.
So I think if Heavens doesn't sign up, the fourth team's just going to sort of be a wild card team. If Heavens does sign up, I think the four teams are going to be New IM, Apex, Inept, which was BBB, and Heavens.
Yep.
One thing to remember
too
is
easy.
the luck of the draft. Like exactly as you said with Apex, they versed old Immunity, then they versed Silicone. They got knocked out. But they might have, if luck had favored them more, they might have qualified. So, you could have, let's say you get BBB versus Apex again, one of them gets knocked out, that one versus the new Immunity, or so on and so forth, and then they get knocked out again. Like, you never know. Could be some bad randomization. But,
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope for the sake of the top eight ANZ final, that does not happen.
Could happen.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. What about you, Happy Rage? What are your top 4 picks going into? Just the same thing, hearing the same names: Apex, New Immunity, Inept.
Same thing. Well, before Immunity had broken up, my picks were Apex and BBB or Buttercup or whatever they call themselves. Inept, yeah.
Yeah.
They were my top two to qualify, and then pretty much third and fourth were up for grabs. Obviously, there's another seed that's probably going to be taken by Immunity, and so it means that one seed's pretty much a wild card. Somebody's going to get it. Don't know who.
All right, cool. So we might be seeing some fairly new teams up in the regional in August. Do we have some dates for the actual ACL August qualifier? The actual one that proves who is the best team in ANZ?
I know it is August 1st, so a week from now. Well, not a week from now, but weekend-wise. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday, I should say. And it is at 11 a.m., I believe. AEST.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so it's going to be a mad rush for everyone. Tournament this weekend, and then the actual regional the thing you qualified to get into.
Yeah, it's pretty all strung
right.
together pretty quickly, but it'll be good. I hope it's I'm looking forward to it.
It's good to see. This is what I like. I love for the last month, I think I've been able to watch Heroes of the Storm tournaments every single weekend. It's been great. It's been an exciting time. Seeing all my favorite teams, checking out the ANZ scene, North American scene, EU scene. I just loved it. I wish it was like this all year, tournaments every single weekend. But actually, so we had a big talk about different teams, like knowing team compositions. We just talked about Apex. Apex had a bit of a line change up recently. They Demise, one of the longest running members, I believe, has left Apex to play more casually Heroes of the Storm, and we've seen that Arcane has had to fill in his spot, but Arcane has actually found that in a player called Cruven. Is it Cruven? Cruven, yes. I hope so. That's what I'm calling him anyway. So what do you guys think of that change up? It's I've got a little bit of a statement I got from Arcana on the matter that I'll read in a moment. But how do you think that's going to change Apex? You think they're going to be a little bit weaker going into the tournament now with a newer player? Or have you guys played with Cruven before? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Skimmy scrimmed against their new lineup. Why don't you tell us about them?
Yeah, we scrimmed against them once. It's hard to say because we scrimmed against the old Apex quite a lot, and we'd beaten them quite a few times, and we were a bit confused by a lot of their drafts and sometimes their plays and their shot calling, and we're thinking, well, something's going to give eventually because if you lose that many times, I'm not too sure what their results were against other teams, but surely there'll come a time when somebody goes, I've had enough of this, or someone will just raise the occasion and say, hey, we need to get this all changed up, and then eventually, Demise decided to leave. Arcane had a wee bit of a talk with me and said, hey, I'm going to start, determining drafts and whatnot before the game. Because a lot of this is like, as much as your mechanics and your decision making is important. I know a lot of the issue for our team back in Alpha and Beta was the pre-game, which is like, you're drafting what sort of strat you're going to be doing, how you're going to execute things off. That actually affects you quite a bit as well. So you could be mechanically a better player, but if your draft or your strat's not that up to point, you're not going to go too fast. It's early days for Craven. I need to see him a bit more in action. I've actually never really versed him in solo queue either, so I'll be interested to see how they perform this weekend.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I actually didn't know who Cruven was until Arcana messaged me and said, "Hey, we've recruited Cruven," and Demise left. From what I've gathered from Arcana, he's extremely happy with picking up Cruven. I think he's sort of a bit of fresh air for their team. I mean, as Skimmy said, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how they perform this weekend. It seems like Cruven's sort of a bit of fresh air for Arcana, and hopefully that can translate into a bit more of a positive team environment for them. Because I know previously they weren't that happy. So hopefully Cruven is sort of the shining light and makes them perform a little bit better on the weekend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a little bit of an insight onto that because I did talk to Arcana as well, and a little bit on the forums. I'll talk about what he said to me on the forums, obviously, because that's a bit more public. And I was just saying, it's so I asked him, tell us about Cruven's background, where did he come from and stuff. And he's gone, he's one of those talented players who hasn't really been publicized much in the ANZ community. He didn't come from a team, however, he's played with two guys. I don't know if you know these people. Kangoth, and I call them Zeros, but I think it's Zeros or something like that. Got the X instead of the Z. And it's just saying, a couple of people probably encountered them in quick matches Hero League. According to Cruven, he's actually played competitive Team Fortress 2 and Call of Duty 2 as well. So that might be a really cool bit of fresh air to bring to the team. He's been in a different competitive scene, a different environment. It might just be able to say, well, in this other game, this is something that we've done to improve, or this is how we analysed our strats. So that might be a pretty cool thing as well there. And then he goes on to say, he hasn't tested the MOBAs watered much, but he really loves the team aspect of Heroes of the Storm because it's similar to Team Fortress 2 and COD 2. And then I just asked him, so what do you think he's going to do in terms of bring to the team? What are you going to do to Apex? And he's going, Arcana's gone. I think that Cruven, who's going to be our main support now, will bring a lot to the team, both great skill and remarkable game sense. It's going to allow Arcana to switch to more of a flex position and give him a lot more shot calling consideration and things like that, because now he doesn't have to worry about the support role. He also has he's saying that he reckons Cruven's got a really good potential to be one of the top support players in our scene. And just what I was saying before, that the team building presence he brings over because of his involvement in Team Fortress 2 and Call of Duty. So just listening to that and stuff, I think it's going to be really interesting. How do you think that's going to change up that Arcana is going to be taking more of a flex role? Obviously, Cruven's going to be the support. Does Arcana play a good, assassin or a good warrior or good, secondary support? It's not seeing these guys a lot in games just yet. What are your guys' opinions on that? Still the same as before? Still what you said stands?
Well, I mean, again, I still can't speak on behalf of Cruven because I haven't personally seen his gameplay. I'm only going off what I've been told. But I mean, in regards to Arcana, I can't really say at this point because he's been playing support for his team for so long now. I actually haven't personally seen him play Assassin, Flex, or Pseudo in quite a long time. So, and it's also when you flex for a team, and I'm speaking from experience, you generally flex into certain roles. So for the longest time, I was sort of flexing. I actually mained Assassin, and then I flexed into Pseudo and support, and I didn't really touch Warriors. So I know Arcana's got a lot of heroes on level 10, level 9. So he might just be a flex for everything, or he may be a flex for certain roles. So he may still play support in the flex role, and then maybe Pseudo and Assassin, or maybe Warrior support. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I guess only time will tell, and I think we'll get a better picture when we see them perform this weekend's tournament.
Yeah. And I say, just to add to that, I mean, their roster, they've been switching around their sort of positions for quite a while now. They actually had quite a big team with a fair amount of subs, I remember, and there'd be like different scrims that would have different people in. Even in the best of 3 series, for example, they'd be subbing people in and out. So hopefully this is the roster that they're quite happy with, and they've got their their positions and their roles down to a fine art, and we'll see if all the practice and preparation pays off for them this weekend.
All right, awesome. So that's just a really cool thing, seeing that teams change up, and it gives hope to people that there are always things are always happening in the scene. Teams are changing up. It's trying to get into a bigger team that's there. It's I'm actually really looking forward to it. It's I've actually managed to have a couple of games with Cruven, and you know what? It's actually, to be honest, everyone's amazing when I play with them. Like, everyone is skillfully way better than I am, but he definitely seems very much on the ball, knows his timings. He's got his support role down packed, so I think he's going to be a really great addition to Apex, and it's going to probably surprise a lot of people with how well he can play, being a fairly new person on the scene. So actually, speaking of changes to Apex, we'll talk about another change. Shy, do you want to let the community know the little bit of the little bit of the situation with team immunity? It's big changes have happened over the last week, and it's a lot of people know parts of the story, but I don't think people know parts of the story, and that normally leads to a lot of creative writing going on and what happened or what didn't happen and stuff. And I just thought it would be a good chance, if you like it, just to talk about the changes happening to team immunity at the moment.
Yeah, sure, mate. Well, look, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty and the specifics. I'll try and stay impartial. I'll just give you the facts of what's happened. So basically, as it stands right now, myself, Robodoba, and Nay, who was the official sub for a very long time in the original Team Immunity roster, we have split from JV LOL, Hiccup, and Disperts. Basically, the team sort of disintegrated after the MSI qualifiers. There was a massive disagreement, or disagreements, I should say, between myself and, me and Rob and JV and Hiccup. Disperts was sort of impartial, but he decided to go with them. So as it stands right now, they've retained their ANZ final slot, Hiccup, JV, and Disperts, due to them having core 3 members. I'm not sure what the other 2 members are going to be for the ANZ final as of right now, so I can't say any more on that. For us, our new team, as it stands right now, is myself, Robodoba, Nay, Sashin, who everyone knows is very, very close with Rob. They're Hero League buddies.
Yep.
And we recently trialed a very, very unknown player who I'd never heard of before. I think his name is Inagan, who did quite well in our scrims against Silicone on Monday. And we were quite impressed with him. And obviously we don't have much time to fill a roster for this weekend's qualifier, so Inagan is the way to go at the moment. But in regards to who's keeping the Team Immunity name, the owner of Team Immunity has stated that we are now both Team Immunity. So there are now two Team Immunity Heroes of the Storm teams as of right now, until the situation is completely resolved.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
All right, so a little bit of confusion at the moment with Team Immunity. Just I guess just be aware that there are 2 Team Immunities if you're wondering why Team Immunity seems to have a team of 10 people.
That's right. So I guess you could call them Team Immunity Black and call us Team Immunity White or something. I guess that's what the quick fix is going to be. But so let's say Team Immunity White, being us, will be playing in the ANZ qualifier to obviously try and retain a slot. And Team Immunity Black have retained the initial slot that the old team qualified for. Bit confusing, but that's the situation.
Yeah, that's how it's going down. It's well, thanks very much for just letting the ANZ community know exactly what's happening. I just will say one thing: how awesome would it be for you guys to go up against each other in the ACL?
It'd be if we were to verse each other in the ANZ final, it would be quite Orkies, put it that way. Yeah. And I'll put it this way: it'd be a pretty big grudge match. So yeah, maybe that will happen, and I'm sure everyone will be excited to see if we do verse them.
Yeah, it'd be a big event. That's it.
I mean, typically X5. Sorry to cut you off. Typically X5 versus Immunity has been like the showcase of a tournament because we have a bit of a grudge against each other because we both consider ourselves the best. But with the splitting of Team Immunity, I think that's probably like the game or the best of 3 to watch. So yeah,
will be the interesting game. All right, that's awesome. It's right. So just checking my notes. Man, just so much stuff happened over like the last 7 days. It's been crazy. It's we'll just do a very quick skim over the other items. So double bans. It's Dustin Browder. Can't say his last name. Browder. Sorry. Sent out a tweet last night to a user who asked a question about banning in Team League. And Dustin Browder did say that they are looking at introducing the double ban system into Team League. So it's I think it's a big thing everyone in the community, all communities, have been asking for a while. And I know there was a pretty big stance that Blizzard did originally say during development that they didn't want any sort of bans to be included into their game. And tournaments can do what tournaments want, but they particularly didn't want it. However, they've obviously looked at it and said, well, it's something the community wants, and it seems to bring a new depth into the game, new level. So watch this space. Double bans eventually coming to Team League. Do you think it'll ever flow from Team League into the general Hero League play, or do you think it's just going to be just a thing for the teams?
No idea.
Well, as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure Blizzard had stated that Team League. They're designing Team League to be sort of the main competitive thing for teams, which is why bans are being implemented into Team League, and they want Hero League to sort of still say, sorry, for Hero League to stay as sort of a solo queue, fun sort of experience. So as far as I'm aware, bans will stay to Team League, and Hero League will sort of be retained as no bans.
Still be the fun. I don't want to say it. Not the casual experience, but still be the fun. You can queue up and get rank, but not have to be in that awkward, super competitive environment, I should say.
Who decides who bans? That's my question in Hero League.
I think what?
If they were to put Hero League bans, who gets to choose who bans? Just the top player?
That is an extremely good point that I've never thought of.
Makes sense.
Fair enough.
I think in League of Legends they do that. In League of Legends they do the first player gets to pick all the bans for the team.
Well, the way that the bans work is like, in Heroes of the Storm at least, like, you ban once, you pick 3 or 2 heroes, depending on which side you are and which pick you have.
Yeah.
And then, next set of bans go through. So, like, would it be like the first player picks both bans? Yeah. Too much to work out.
Yeah. All right, be a little bit more tougher. All right, cool thing. Well, we'll watch this space. We'll see where that comes. Skimmy, do you have anything to say on that, or it's pretty much just a cool little tidbit that is coming? If anyone did miss that tweet,
I think he's gone.
Yeah, maybe he's muted.
Oh, am I back here?
Yeah.
Hey, I must be disconnecting. Hotspot players, boys. Team League at the moment is pretty dead. Like, I don't think anyone plays it in ANZ, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think anyone in NA or Europe, for example, even play it either. So it's pretty dead. They need to do something to get a bit more interest in it, because right now, if you're scrimming, you're just going to a custom lobby and you have to sort of deal with it through third-party applications like, Stormcraft, Heroes Draft, whatever. So until they make it so that you have to be a 5-stack in Team League and you can't do that in Hero League, I don't think they'll have bans in your solo queue. But I'm hoping that they do bring in double bans at least for our region as a whole, because right now we're the only region that's still looking for single bans, especially for this August tournament.
Yep.
So we put up a thread on the forums just before. We want to sort of try and get that swayed and that decision overruled, because just the double bans add another element to the draft, as opposed to just blanket banning like, I don't want to verse Jaina, or I don't want to verse Zeratul. We don't really take much thought into it. It's just like, we don't want to play it, but it's just retarded, so we don't want to verse it.
Yep. All right, so double ban.
Yeah.
How's I was about to say, just bringing up with the double ban system, like getting it introduced into the ACL one, because as far as we're all aware, it's still single ban at the moment, isn't it? Like have they really expressed
Yeah.
the banning situation? It's how does that play into at the moment with the support choices? Because no, Brightwing received a little bit nerf in the last patch, so she hasn't been as viable as normal. And I know a lot of in the North American scene, you're seeing people using the double ban system to force a team to do an early pick on a support. So effectively, they pick their support, they ban a support. So it's either you either take whoever's left out of Rhaegar, Uther, or Malfurion, either take who's left, or that team's going to ban them again. It will ban that support, and you're left with something like Lily, or it's just the less viable supports. Do you see that as a possible issue if they did introduce a double ban for the ACL? Because the Monk's not out, won't be out again for the Monk won't be out for like 3 or 4 weeks now.
I think
If you, I look, I'm on the fence purely because we found in the MSI tournaments, and it's obviously very apparent, as you stated, that you can single out roles that don't have many heroes at the moment. Obviously, support being the most prevalent in that regard. But I think it's hard because if every other region is doing double ban, you sort of need to follow suit. You can't be the lone wolves in single banning, especially when you are the minority region. So I think just for that reason, we should be doing double bans. But in regards to if I think it's actually good, it's hard to say just because there's not a lot of heroes at the moment. So you're getting situations again where if you're banning and picking supports, the other team gets screwed over. And I sort of agree that yes, the abs is sort of an extra element in drafting, but at the same time, you're also being left with a lot less of, or you're getting less tier 1 or even tier 2 picks, and you're having to dive deeper into the hero pool where the heroes aren't that great. So yeah, again, I'm on the fence. I think we need to be doing double bans just because every other region is. That's sort of a non-issue.
Yep.
So everyone should support that. But at the same time, I think we should also be thinking about, are double bans actually that viable for the current competitive hero pool? Because you've got a hero pool of about 50, I think, at the moment. Probably only maybe 70 or 50 to 70% of those heroes are actually viable in competitive. And then you're already banning 4 heroes out of that and then picking 10. That's a huge chunk. Yeah, again, I'm on the fence. So.
It's like a consistency thing, really, because everyone's doing it except us. And if you win, for example, August, you're going to go to America where they have double bans. So why not just keep it consistent amongst both? It just seems a bit strange that we're the only place in the world that don't do it. So you see all these drafts and strategies that other teams are using, and you're like, cool, we could run that, we could give that a try. But you're sort of just going into this draft and going, oh, we don't want to verse this, we don't want to verse that. I've just got to ban it away. You can't really do anything. It's just everyone picking tier 1 heroes, and it's rather bland and boring.
Yep. All right. As a tournament organizer, Happy, it's
Right.
what do you feel about the bans? Like, I'm going to say that every episode now. Like, so Happy Rage, tournament organizer and team manager. Now, what do you see about bans in your events? So obviously you guys went with single ban first, but have any opinions on the single double ban?
Well, all my future events after the BlizzCon stuff are all going to be double bans. Follow suit. But watching the MSI, like that's the first time, I've actually been emotionally invested in double bans. Like, I've watched the NA tournaments and it's like, just watching them. But like, watching Immunity cheering them on and watching X5 cheering them on. It's like you're watching the draft and you're like, all right, so they've gone like this and this. They obviously want to pick up this next, and you're midway through the draft. At the start of, if you only got one ban, you can't stop it. Whereas, like, with this, with single ban, you're either forced to pick that hero so they can't double up on it. Whereas with the double ban, you can just ban it out. You don't have to force yourself to counter pick it and steal it away from them for whatever combo they're going for. It adds more strategy. I like it. But at the same time, I'm just glad that we're using third-party website. That's my victory already. So if it doesn't get changed, it doesn't get changed. If it does get changed, so be it. Pretty impartial. I'm just happy that we're using Heroes Draft now rather than the first come first serve.
Oh, I really enjoyed first come first serve, didn't you? How fun was that? Yeah. Oh, great fun.
My God.
So strong opinions on it.
Oh, it was fun for me. It was quick.
All right.
The tournament went so quick. 'Cause, a lot of the issues. You gotta remember, Alpha tournament back in the day, we did bans through chat, and it would take 16 minutes for people.
Those are the
Skippy.
days, mate.
Back in the
Hey,
day.
5 minutes of ban, boys.
Yeah.
Oh, literally 5 minutes of ban. You'd be like, "Are you there? Hello?" And then you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, one of our mates went to the toilet. Yeah, this is our ban." You're like, "Yes, so it is."
Yeah. Like, Stormcraft really saved lives of everybody with the timer. Whereas before, we couldn't enforce it. It was kind of like, when you're taking too long, but then like still everyone would take too long.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm sick of
The
using
big
Stormcraft.
decisions.
I mean, Heroes Draft.
I hope it goes through, but we'll have to see.
See what happens. Oh, it's a pretty strong push. It's I mean, we're only a week out though, so can you see it? Who knows? They could go both ways. They respond to the community and they don't respond to the community at the same time. And great organization.
We'll see.
I mean that with all greatness as well. All right, and just very quickly wrapping up the news section. Just a quick shout out to our new Blue on the NZ forum. Give a big welcome to, now I'm terrible, I probably won't say your name properly, to is it what Takrellis, our new community manager.
Let's go with that.
Takrellis. They can send a press statement out saying Disco doesn't know how to read, apparently. Anyway, she's a new Blue to forum. She has come down. She's actually moved from the EU over to our little ANZ region, and she hasn't just done what someone pointed out on the forum. She hasn't just logged out of EU and logged into ANZ. She's actually done a physical move. So it's really cool. Welcome to community. I think she'll be great. The more community managers, the better. We are a growing scene. We're going to get huge. We're going to become fantastic, and we're just going to stomp the rest of the regions. That's it. No, one day
plan,
next
mate.
week. That's it. We've got our own podcast now, boys. We're huge. All right, so moving
We get
on.
so much interest
So
from
that-
other teams. You'll see
I
things
think
like
it's huge.
TSM Oceania and CLG Oceania will become the best region, mate.
Yeah,
When we win BlizzCon.
this year it's happening. Anyway, so moving. So that is it. That is all the best news that has happened over the last week. I mean, it's just been huge, and this is so much that's focused in our scene. I think it's amazing. So moving on. So just next section we're going to talk about is, I just wanted to get into like a general gaming discussion where we sort of talk about the game mechanics, the game particulars, and really try and promote better play in Heroes of the Storm. I think we're a pretty good community. I think everyone is fairly pretty good skilled, but they're just little things that there's just not a lot of information on. Like there's just lots of stuff out there. So I just thought, first off, we got a tournament this weekend for a lot of new teams entering. We did say that there's a lot of new teams that are entering it. We don't know who they are. We don't know what their level of skill is. Just Skimmy and Shy. I'll get Skimmy to go first. What sort of advice do you have for new teams entering their tournament? Like for some teams, this is probably their first tournament that they've entered in, tried to do a grab for the Blizzards to road to BlizzCon. What advice do you give to new teams? What should they expect on the first day of their tournament? Should they expect to be crushed?
What is the biggest thing? Is hopefully not. Hopefully not. Unless you're going up against one of the big powerhouses that have been around for ages, which it'd be good for them, but unfortunate for the guys who are first time around. But I mean, just have fun with it. The game is still relatively new. And you've got plenty of time to find who are going to become like the best players in the scene. And if you put enough effort into it, you'll find your way up there. But yeah, just have fun with it, because it's a game that can go back and forth. Despite people saying there's no comeback element, the games are really, really short. There's not really much of a farming sort of block out time. It's straight into the action, and one team throws the boss or one team makes the bad shot, you can always come back. So don't give up, don't go on tilt. I mean, that's that's rather hard to say the best of times, but I mean, yeah, just have fun with it. Bounce off your teammates, just have faith in one another, because if you don't have faith in him being able to divine shield you or cleanse you or whatnot, then you're not going to go very far.
Yep. All right. And
Yeah.
Shai, do you have any advice?
I'd say like, look, if you're really serious about being in a competitive team and you want to really do well, I think preparation is probably the best way to do it. And through that, if you come into a tournament, first tournament, and you already have a good idea about what the top picks are, what are some good team compositions, what are good combos, what sort of rotations you want to be doing. Like I know some of this stuff is quite advanced for a beginning team, but I think we can look to BBB who they played really really well against XL5 in their first ever tournament. And I think that's because it was obvious that they one they practiced a lot, and two they were well prepared. They'd obviously done research on top tier picks, top tier combos, and they really took it to X5. So I think as Skimmy said, obviously have fun with it. Don't get too upset if you lose to a powerhouse or a team you don't know. But at the same time, I think preparation is key. If you really want to make a strong mark like BBB did in their first tournament. Watch replays, watch what the top American teams are doing, and really be prepared is probably my best advice.
Yep.
Yeah, good points.
All right, too easy. And Happy Rage, but again, it's just some things you've obviously seen heaps of like sort of a lot of the background administration, right, from these teams asking questions and things like that. What do you recommend are things not to do during a tournament, or even just them things to do? For example, go ahead.
I got two pieces of advice for people, right? Listen to your shot caller, because even if you don't agree with their decision, it's better for all five to do it and hopefully do the right thing than to have two people say, no, we're not going to do that. 3 run in, the other 2 stay back because they didn't think it was a good idea. And then it becomes a 3v2 or whatever. So, there might be 3 or 4 decisions you can make. And, one might lead to 100% victory. One might lead to winning the fight, but, you still lose a couple of people. Some might lead to you losing the game. But as long as all 5 commit to that decision, you got the best chance to pull it off. And my other bit of advice is, if you're doing boss and one person doesn't think it's a good idea, you can't see the enemy on the map, just fucking run away. That's my advice. Because the amount of people you see like, oh yeah, we're ahead, you can't see the enemy on the map, and they do the boss, and then you find out later when you talk to them, it's like, oh, I said we shouldn't do the boss, but we did it anyway. And just don't do it. If you think you're gonna fail, just don't risk it, especially if you're ahead.
Yeah. The amount of games that have been thrown from boss calls. Deary me.
Can relate.
That's it. The boss.
Fun times.
The boss is just a trap. Just a trap.
Actually is.
All right, that's pretty. A trap for the new players. And actually, just something I wanted to bring up. So, is there any things that players generally shouldn't do during a tournament? So this is something that I picked up in the June qualifiers. I was watching a couple of replays, and I saw one person on a particular team. I'm not going to give details, names, or anything like that. And he started the game with saying, "I'm going to set your cat on fire." Was his lovely message to the other team.
Wow.
Now,
good on him.
Is that a thing not to do for the newer teams? It's don't, and they lost, by the way. The team he was on did lose all their games pretty convincingly. So it's is that a thing to do? Don't trash talk if you can't back it up, or more importantly, don't trash talk. Yeah, it's not.
Maybe they're trying to utilize the mind games.
I wouldn't say that's really trash talking. That's just a random comment to throw them off.
Maybe a player had a cat and he was really, really close to that cat. So if you go into that guy's head, that guy might suddenly go on tilt and GG, they win. Cat plays.
That's it. From the start of the game, we were thrown off. I was scared for my cat's life. All right, too easy. So anyway, so that's just just a cool little feature. Thought it'd be interesting for a lot of new teams. Hopefully, some listen to it. Maybe get some good advice for it. Who knows? Have some awesome. Anyway, the big thing I want to talk about in this section, more gaming advice, and it's because it's a little bit of the trouble I'm actually having in Hero League. So I'll be interested in hearing your guys' advice on this as well. Is I want to talk about drafting, hero drafting. What sort of goes through your guys' minds, particularly when you're making up a team comp? In that first pick, it's why do some comps work and others don't? But sort of more importantly, if someone picks a particular type of hero, what should we be thinking? If someone takes an Illidan, gee, how should I respond to that? Or someone takes Butcher, what's my options, or how can we turn that Butcher choice into a bad decision? I guess we just look at. Sorry, I just find my notes on the matter because they're not right in front of me. Just on that note, so what advice do you give the guys drafting? What should they be thinking of?
So just quickly, are we talking Hero League or competitive drafting?
So I guess we'll talk more to Hero League because obviously it's a lot more relatable to to the people listening. Because I see a lot of time, which I believe, I'm probably wrong, but I believe to be not very good picks chosen in Hero League. But it would be nice to maybe tie in a little bit to the competitive drafting as well, because there is an opportunity to anyone watching the tournament this weekend just to get a little bit of better understanding of why you guys are picking. Why did X5 for some reason pick Thrall just then? Hopefully that doesn't happen. But why did you guys pick up that hero?
Sure. Well, I think, when you go into Hero League, it's dependent on who you're queuing with, how many people are in your stack. So to begin with, I guess if you're duo queuing or if you're solo queuing, and you're not, let's say you're not first pick, or even if you are first pick, I think my advice would be, if you want to win solo queue or duo queue in Hero League, you need to take the assassins. You need to take sort of the carry roles, purely because if you're decent at assassin, and you're the one who is, who's dealing the damage, you're going to be able to carry a lot easier than giving it to someone else who is subpar. I can relate multiple hero games where I've duo queued or solo queued, and I've said, all right, these guys want to play assassin, so I'll play, my right wing, or I'll play Malfurion, and these guys just misposition and they die. And then our damage dealers are gone, and then we can't win. So I think if you're solo queuing or duo queuing, absolutely pick a damage dealer, because I think you can really carry and climb the ranks that way. If you're in a 5-stack, in regards to sort of back and forth and drafting, because there's no bans in Hero League, in my opinion, if you're out to win, it's sort of just trading the tier 1 heroes back and forth and constructing a team comp off that. So, for example, if I'm first pick, I'd probably first pick Jaina or KT, just because I think they're really, really strong and there's not much, there's not much of a disadvantage with them. And then the other team's going to pick two more tier 1 heroes, and then vice versa until team comps are constructed. Obviously, if you know the other team, you may want to, as you say, deny pick a hero. So if I'm versing Skimmy, I might want to pick Valor away.
Damn it.
For example. But yeah, generally, again, because you have no bans, there's not much strategy in Hero League when you're in a 5-stack versus another 5-stack. It's literally just bouncing forwards back and forth between tier 1 heroes. And again, if you're solo queuing, I think this is probably the best advice, is go on a carry role. Go on someone that can deal damage and carry the game or win a team fight. Because if you give that role to someone who's subpar, who mispositions, doesn't know how to properly deal damage, you're more than likely going to lose. So, yeah.
I suppose to add on to that point as well, when I used to play League of Legends, I only played support, and I'd solo queue support, and there'd be times where you'd be frustrated because you might be doing really well, but your AD carry wouldn't be performing. It's one of those things you kind of need, I suppose, if you're going a different role, have other people you can rely on. Because as Shai said, if you're the carry getting all the kills, as long as you've got somebody behind you who's got sort of a bit of an idea of what they're doing and they can keep you topped up, then you can make those big plays and carry those games. But if you do play things like support or tank, and you're making all the right engagements, you're always peeling back, always choosing the right targets to go for, it's only a matter of time, I would like to think, until you end up with the right bunch of people that can sort of synergize with you, and you'll climb the rank to rank 1.
All right, so the big sort of advice we're hearing more there and here. Sorry, have a rage.
I was thinking rank 1. It's not incredibly hard to get. if you play with 5. If you play with 5, it's not hard to get.
Oh, rank 1's the dream, bro.
Well, just bringing that back to a lot of solo queuers, right? So saying that, you know, pick those sort of carry roles or those damage dealers. In the situation that you are the 5th pick in your team or 4th pick in your team, you know, obviously you don't want a team of all assassins. That's going to be sort of a bit detrimental to you. And it is solo queue, so you're not really sure if people are going to sort of communicate. Would sort of your general advice just be, because I think I sort of picked up from you both speaking before, pick assassins early. Like, you know, it's the people in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd position. Pick the assassins in those sort of roles, and then round out the bottom of your comp. If you're the last pick, take what's needed for the team. You know, if you need to be support or warrior because no one else has done it, you know, you pick your warriors and support later on, and let the 2 first positions get the tier 1 assassins, or, you know, the tier 1 Kelthus or the tier 1, you know, Jaina or.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I think Skibby and I can agree that generally assassins are the most contested or the highly contested picks in both competitive and Hero League, just because they are the ones that can carry the game. You know, a level 16 Kael'thas, you know, he lands one good DQ onto a squishy, and they die, and you win the game. You know, you win the team fight. So, you know, but if you have a level 16 Rhaegar, you know, the impact is very little in comparison. So, yes, picking assassins early, the tier 1 assassins early in the draft is highly recommended. Because, I mean, the top tier tanks and the top tier supports, they're all pretty well rounded. So, you know, if one team picks Johanna, the other team's probably going to pick a Nubarak or a Mirrodin, right? And relatively, they're all quite similar. You know, they're going to be doing the same thing in every fight. Whereas the assassins, they all vary quite differently in how they play and how they impact a fight. So I think that's why generally you'll see teams both in Hero League and in competitive early picking their assassins more so than not, purely because of the impact that each assassin has.
I would say generally in solo queue, you don't want to be that guy anyway. I mean, even if you're like, hey, I'm rank 1 Smurf, 80 carry, and then, you know, your 4th pick, and everyone else has picked carries and whatnot, and you're like, well, screw this, I'm going to carry all you guys. Don't be that guy who doesn't pick support just to screw over your team.
Agreed.
Yeah.
On the same picture, in solo queue, generally speaking, as Shai mentioned, yeah, you're looking at picking your assassins first of all. It's a battle of who can get the top tier picks straight out the door. But I mean, if you're playing in a 5-stack or even just in an actual competitive match, you'll sometimes see strategies where people are going for the support sort of tanks first because they don't want to give away their strategy too much. And they're sort of trying to bait you into taking certain heroes that they can encounter with. So there's definitely a bigger drafting element at a higher level when you're in a sort of more team-based environment. But in solo queue, it's a case of like, oh, I got Kael'thas, let's just make it to level 16 and, you know, we can win because people won't be able to dodge this flame strike I'm going to chuck out.
Yeah. All right, awesome. And Happy Rage yourself, do you have any cool advice or even questions about the drafting element?
Ooh. Don't be the guy who instant locks Butcher. That does my head in. That's all I'm going to say. Whenever I solo queue Hero League, it's always the first person instant lock Butcher. If you want to try out the new hero, use Quick Match. That's all I'm going to say.
And you lost a lot of games with Butcher in it.
A lot of first pick Butchers that just run in and die.
Team? Where's my team?
Yeah.
All right, so advice: pick assassins early, but not the Butcher.
Oh, it's just people trying out the new hero rather than actually playing.
All right, so the advice there is, you know, draft heroes that you've had exposure and experience to. Try not to try out new heroes. Don't be King Leoric in Hero League tonight.
Oh,
I'm level 1 King Leoric. I've got this. Advice from Roba: no, pick Skeleton King first pick every time.
Pick your assassins first, but then take King Leoric first.
That's it. Take all the powerful heroes. And just another thing as well, a lot of people may not this is a lot of thing that happens in the competitive play. Just interesting for people who are interested in doing it or wonder why it's done. Double warrior and double support comps. What are the what's the essence behind that? Like we talk about, you know, taking assassins, having a balanced team of say an assassin, warrior, support, specialist. But then you see these comps in competitive play where they do have a double warrior they take. Terror, I can't think of any combos now. But, let's say they take Tyrael and ETC, I think was popular at a stage, or Tyrael and Mirrodin or something like that. What's the advantage of taking double warriors in a competitive scene or competitive environment? And is it feasible in Hero League? Can you do the double warrior in Hero League or the double support? Or is there too much coordination required?
I think, in competitive, it's done one as a reaction to what you think the other team's going to be drafting, and two, it's also map dependent. So I'd say on, for example, Sky Temple, double support and double warrior sees a lot more play than triple assassin, purely because of how the map's set up and how you need to be brawling for long periods. So in those situations, I'd say double warrior and double support are a lot more prevalent. But I think as a whole, they're not as good as your traditional setup of one warrior, one support, two assassins, and then your fifth pick can be sort of a pseudo or another, whether it be a melee assassin or ranged assassin. I think traditionally that is still your most optimal setup on most maps. But again, double warrior is picked in certain situations when drafting on certain maps, I find. Again, Sky Temple and Dragonshire, it can be done. And I think, with the double bans as well, if one team decides to start banning and picking a lot of the assassins first, you're sort of forced into picking double warrior. Because, I found in the MSI tournament, by the time we got to the second phase of the drafting after second ban,